Upgrade my communications manager? Are you serious? Why?
And how?
Yes. All that and more on this episode of TechWise TV.
You know, it all started with IP telephony over 15 years ago. And in that time, Cisco has created the market for what we now call unified communications. The core platform that makes all the magic happen is a unified communications manager, which has been upgraded significantly over its lifespan. And with so many customers having built their communications around this platform, it would not be surprising to find that many of you are on what we might consider an older platform. Now, if that's you, the question now becomes, what am I missing? Well, I caught up with Wade Hamblin, Director of Product Management for all that is Cisco's core unified communications platform, and I asked him, why upgrade?
If you're on an older version, you're probably just using voice. And there's a lot more to the communications portfolio than just voice. Video, IM and presence, all the integration of these together. Think about it, the ability to have face-to-face communication. Why are we here together having face-to-face? We could have this over our telephone call,
Absolutely.
but the video adds a whole lot more color and perspective to this environment, and hence we want to have that same type of thing for normal everyday communications. Even if I just want to stay on voice, there's a lot of good reasons to go for it. The primary one is virtualization. The platforms are really simplified. Instead of having racks and stacks of servers that are in place, now I can put my UC Manager infrastructure on virtualized platforms. Makes it a whole lot simpler, a lot less rack space, less cooling, less power, less maintenance worker across the entire portfolio. So even if you're just staying on voice, there's some good reasons to move forward.
Okay, let's say this is starting to make sense. But this is a core platform. I mean, upgrades are not click and forget, right? They deserve respect. So let's say you're ready to jump in. You're good with the why, but what about how? I mean, this can't be easy, or can it?
We've done a lot of work to simplify that process for the users. One of the key things we've done is we've created what we call a jump upgrade, which allows you...
Jump upgrade?
Jump upgrade. So what the jump allow you to do is to jump from the MCS server, the hardware that you had before, onto a virtualized platform, take the licensing with you, and then migrate the software in a very simple way.
Who approved the word jump for that? That doesn't actually lower my pulse. But okay, so it's a jump upgrade.
It's a jump upgrade.
Good luck, just jump.
Good point, but
No, that's fine. I'm just making fun of it.
What it means is it allows you to be able to jump forward in a very productive and effective way.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you'd have to pull in different pieces of hardware to make that migration. So it's a lot simpler process than it was in the past.
So very almost a checklist type of do this and then have this ready, and so you're not looking at downtime or
not only
hard
that,
cutovers.
not only that now, but your old hardware may be frozen. You may not be able to move forward in any way, fashion. So what the jump upgrade allows you to do is take that hardware, migrate to a virtualized platform first, and then take that as a jumping point off to go to your 9.1 version.
Okay, good stuff. But this is just scratching the surface, of course. I mean, let's do what we love doing here on TechWise and go a bit deeper. On today's show, Cynthia Lee shows us how video may be the most compelling reason to get current. Brian Pong shares what has been done to make the upgrade process easier than you would even think was possible. And Shobana Shankar covers incredible improvements to the licensing model. But first, I want to bring in our own experts to see how my top 5 benefits for why you need to get current with UC Manager match up with their business and technical benefits. So guys, we're talking about upgrading telephony, upgrading our central core communications, UCM. Unified Communications Server.
Manager.
Dang it. I always mess that up. There's been different names.
Yeah.
You know what? But maybe that makes a lot of sense for this particular show in the sense that we've been at this a long time. Okay, and as I was going back and I was researching this, Lauren, I'm going to count on you for just a couple of details here. And so I'm glad you got your notes. I got my notes. But this notion, we've really been at this IP telephony for over 15 years. 16 years, something like that. Yeah, the first phone I think was called the SP Plus. But the point is that means that we've come so far. We do so many new and wonderful things. And we're going to talk about those in just a moment. But that means there's a lot of customers. In fact, how many customers have we had? What are we up to roundabout? I know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Communications Manager, we've got over 100,000, probably over 120,000 customers worldwide using Communications Manager. Yeah, 50 million IP phones.
And more than one call manager.
Yes.
for those phones.
Communications manager.
So chances are high then, especially because we're getting in the range of the 9.x type of range and into 10, I would imagine soon based on our release cycle. And we make major changes each time in terms of what these things can do. So that begs the question with this many people and who would be watching this show is why upgrade? I really want to focus on this. And so as we were going through our list, and it's no surprise you guys have your list because I want to go into the details here, but I came up with 5 areas that I thought, this is broadly speaking, and that way I can rely on you guys for the details. I want to share my 5 areas across of that I think that qualify for why you would want to upgrade. And I have video, bring your own devices, the BYOD phenomenon. I think there's a fit for that, but we'll see. B2B, how we interact with other businesses, so outside of our own networks. Mobility, which kind of falls into the BYOD a little bit, but we'll talk about that. And customer contact, what historically I would have called call center, but really how we interact with our customers, those golden moments. So I think what naturally follows, obviously, is you're our UC specialist. You could handle technical or business side, but let's have you stick from the business perspective. Jimmy Ray, Chief Geek. I want to get your perspective in each of these categories from a technical perspective, but we'll start with you, Laura. Okay. So from a video perspective, what would you highlight as why video would be a reason to upgrade and to look at getting current?
If you think about video next to a face-to-face meeting, it's the most natural way to communicate. And video is what we're using to talk to people. They're watching the show today. I mean, think about how boring the show would be if we didn't have video, right? All the things we're able to do, and you're much more engaged when you're watching video. So you can allow employees to be more productive. And when they're more engaged, they're not only more productive, but they're more satisfied. And so it really allows dispersed teams to come together more as virtual teams, to be more productive, to build trust and credibility. So a lot of benefits there around enhancing decision-making, enhancing relationships, and trust.
That visual.
And then, a lot of things that people talk about are reducing cost as well, right? We've heard that a lot with video. Exactly, yeah. So travel reduction, reduced carbon footprint, and there are some studies out there that talk about telepresence can potentially reduce about 70% of your internal meetings. So, some really
I think we've readjusted
travel. Travel for your internal meetings, right? And so you can, over time, you can actually see a reduction in corporate travel of up to 21%. So, some really
in my
great
experience, the
benefits
meetings
there.
haven't gone down necessarily, but I certainly get the ability to say, do I physically need to be there? Because you've got this middle road here. Sometimes physical still makes a lot of sense because I think when first happened, we cut back on travel here at Cisco, we overcorrected to a certain extent. And you go, no, not all travel is bad.
No, yeah.
But there's certain meetings you go, you know what, I can be a lot more effective. And I like what your point about making that personal contact. As someone who works from home a lot, sometimes I feel like, how can I make an impact with people I don't see face-to-face very often because I'm physically not there? Does that mean I'm going to be held back in the company at some point because I've not been able to build that relationship? I don't really feel that way anymore.
Well, the other thing you can think about, too,
I'll
is
be held back for other reasons.
Work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
Think about how much, for people who are on the road, busy executives, right? A lot of times now they can have meetings with customers without ever even leaving their office.
Yeah.
So you're not wasting all of that time on the plane, you're not wasting time in the airport, and you can have better work-life balance.
Now, a lot of people told me that Jimmy has more of a face for radio, so I'm curious your thoughts on video.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think technically?
There's a couple things because in each of your examples, you cited external video. And unfortunately, when it comes to on the technical side of our house, we tend to default to internal video, which is
about communicating within ourselves.
Absolutely, because that's anything from the firewall behind, right? And we tend to look a lot of that stuff and say, look how great video is and stuff. When it's like, dude, just walk your tail over to the cube and talk to them. Internal video is kind of silly unless it's really a large campus and stuff like the San Jose campus, pretty darn big. But for the most part, in all your examples, you talked about external video. So technically speaking, that is the real key. Does 9.1 allow me to seamlessly integrate that video between my endpoints and really allow that to happen? Because that is where the rubber really hits the road. That is where I'm really making a difference in what my video can and cannot do.
What do you think about URI dialing?
I think that URI dialing is really cool because it plays upon what our users' habits are. It allows us to open up an email, which is certainly one of our primary contacts. I'm a Mac guy, but I use Windows inside of a Cisco. Why? Because it's a very Windows-friendly environment. So, and I just use my machine just for email. And so it's easy for me to read an email and say, what the crap is Rob talking about here? Click on your email name and dial you straight out, and then pick up the phone once it starts ringing. That plays along with my habits of how I use my workflow. So I love it. I think it's great. But the trick with URI dialing is that it can't do a routing match that we do on I'm going to say call manager. Communications manager
Yep.
side of the house. It has to do a prefix match because it's a completely different logic of actually making that happen. Does 9.1 do that? Does it give me away? Need to find out.
Yeah.
That's important stuff.
But I think it does. I mean,
Obviously it does. We just introduced it on the show.
okay.
I need to know how it does that, how it ties
Forever
in,
the cynic.
what I need to actually to make that work.
Because I know how you are, until you've actually done it yourself, you don't believe the data sheets.
No,
Yeah.
exactly, because talk is cheap, right?
Yeah. Okay, so BYOD, point number 2. I'm curious if this fits in, because we've talked a lot on this show on other technologies about bring your own devices. But from a unified communications perspective, you agree there's business benefits here?
Oh, absolutely.
How's
I mean, the thing is, when you let people work their way, once again, productivity, right? They're able to use the device that makes the most sense for their role or, just what they prefer, right? What they know, the interface that they're accustomed to and that they like to use. So you actually start freeing them up to be more engaged and more productive. And the nice thing about UC9, or, the current release of Communications Manager, is that we support all of the leading smartphones, tablets, and laptops. So we really do give people a broad choice. The other thing that's kind of interesting from a business perspective is, you can still provide mobile devices to your employees if you want, but it now kind of frees up companies to allow employees to bring in their own devices that they want to use, and it can reduce it can reduce your costs because now you're not having to pay for that. So
because Communications Manager is actually enabling access to those devices. We're not that picky about the device anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, and you still have the same applications. You still have a common experience no matter
Not
what
sacrificing
device
anything because you
you're
chose that
using
platform.
across all of them. Yeah.
Technical reasons for BYOD?
Can you imagine if we would have said 6 years ago that people could bring their own PCs or laptops into work? You know what? That number one, the users would have been furious. They're like, "No, I work for you. You."
That's the whole
pay
reason I got
for
this
it."
job.
Yeah,
I heard you gave out computers.
I get my cell phone.
Exactly. And number two, the IT department would have blew a head gasket on something like that because how do I control that data? I think that now the users are demanding a lot more, but the IT people are saying, yes, but I need to manage it. I still need to know that I'm going to lease you my data for X amount of time, and we can do that with MDM solutions and things of that nature. How well do we tie that in with UC, which has been very cool, actually, by the way. That's the one thing that I like. I test all our competitors' products and stuff all the time, and the one thing that Communications Manager has over any of our competitors is how well we really tie into an MDM solution to allow people to work their way and be able to deliver that the experience that they want to do.
I want to force your hand on something for just a second because to me, a key to everything that Laura is talking about from a business benefit perspective for BYOD largely comes in from a platform consistency that we've grown into as we've matured Jabber. And I'm curious, would you, I knew this was going to get a reaction from you because you have a history with the protocol. But I'm curious, do you not agree that Jabber is one of the key things that we have grown and given us the ability to embrace BYOD, get the device, democracy, if you will, or the,
It's funny how how your experiences tend to kind of taint, what you think about stuff. And I'll be quite honest with you, when we start messing with Jabber, I always keep thinking of like an instant messenger client, and that's just it. It's just instant messaging.
It has
and
that.
This is silly.
But that's a very small part
why
of
are we
it,
putting so much emphasis on this? But then when you see that is truly becoming that underlying glue that kind of ties everything together, it really honestly makes our workflow processes a lot easier. And it's hard for me to still kind of get over that because I look at it in the most minute, basic detail. It's almost like, looking at a car and thinking that you only use it to go get groceries when you can use it for so much more.
Because you've got video, you've got...
It's incredible.
Yeah, there's so much more now, yeah.
It really does change, honest to goodness, the way you do. So from engineering side, it's a personal hurdle that I'm trying to get over because I keep knocking it down and saying, every friggin' show we talk about Jabber. This is so silly. It's a friggin' instant messaging. That's my stuff.
Yeah.
The truth is, when it comes to building out a true, honest to goodness, unified communications network, that is essential glue that really holds it together.
So we're having too much fun here because we got a couple other points to make.
Yeah.
I know you want to say more.
One thing was it's kind of adding on to the BYOD, but it's kind of like bring your own application, right? So there's also the benefit of being able to access all of your collaboration tools from within the application that you want to work within.
That's a
So
great
whether
call.
that's your
That's
email,
true.
whether it's CRM, ERP solutions, we can give you that access so you don't have to go into another client.
Yeah, that integration's
So
key.
that's a big, the open APIs that we have to allow that kind of capability is a
Running
huge
out of time.
benefit.
That's a great-
sorry.
No,
That's
no,
a
no,
great technical point, business person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Step on each other's
I
toes.
couldn't resist.
Oh, that's a good one. No, that
Yeah.
one's
Would y'all
good.
quit
I'm
fighting?
all about it.
All right, just quit fighting. So B2B.
There's so much
how-
good to talk about, right?
So communications manager, being current when it comes to how we communicate outside of our own organization with partners, with suppliers.
Yeah.
Benefits there, business-wise? Give me
Yeah,
your
I mean,
top
I
one.
think historically UC has been all about inter-company collaboration. So you start opening that up and allowing you to communicate with your partners, your customers, your suppliers in the same way that you communicate with your internal employees. That really, really expands your business opportunities. It expands your opportunities for innovation. So there's a tremendous amount of value we can see in doing that. That seamless communication without need for VPN or point-to-point links.
Key point.
Yeah, so
Can't
it's
just
just
agree with everything she says. What would you cite as a technical aspect? You said it earlier. One thing you mentioned was video outside the organization being that's the big hurdle. Obviously, productivity benefits. Do you still hold that one up, or anything else you'd say?
Absolutely, because we're talking B2B, we can already pick up the phone and call them. I mean,
Yeah.
dial tone is not a big deal. So now
Right.
what I'm looking to do is
That rich
expand.
communication.
There you go. That's a side. So how can I do that without having to pay licensing fees, create an extranet, create a dark net that's going to have these more trusted businesses in, because business is very dynamic. It's not like I have this partner. I have multiples. And I want
Right.
to be able to experience and do that stuff. That's very, very important. That's true, honest goodness B2B.
and it can allow you to grow into new markets because you have the ability
Right.
to truly collaborate with your
Yeah.
partners now,
Right.
and you're not cut off by these boundaries that we've had in the past.
How about mobility? Point number 4.
Mobility. So, I mean, we kind of talked about the benefits with BYOD, but some of the things specifically we can do is we can really help streamline communications. So, the devices that you're using, that you have with you, those mobile devices, you can access easily your contacts. You can see what people are doing, even though you may not be sitting next to them, in their cube, right? You can look at their presence. Are they on the phone? Are they not on the phone?
That's
You
very
have a
valuable for
great
me.
way
Yeah.
of, being able to communicate with them, even though you may just be utilizing a mobile device, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those types of things, we're kind of building into the solutions. So we're allowing people to be more productive, even when they're on the road and they're not in the office.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Technical
That's a big
points?
thing that on mobility we're looking at called over-the-topping, OTT. It's kind of become the calling card, if you will, back when calling cards were hot type thing, That's a really big deal because a lot of people don't want to use your apps. They want to use maybe Skype or Free World Dial-Up or something over your infrastructure. How do we allow them to be that type of mobile stuff? And we're pretty darn good with that.
All right, I'll end with our final one with you, Laura, in terms of customer collaboration. Again, we've hinted around a lot of this as well.
Yeah.
To me, it always makes more sense because to me, it's a relatively generic term, but I think contact center and customer contact. But those are the golden moments in terms of how we interact at those moments. Do we make it easy to interact with customers, for them to reach us? How well are we reaching and interacting with them, and can we do it at a richer level?
Yeah.
Your
Well, I
thoughts?
mean, everybody's had that bad experience of calling into a call center, right? So
No, never?
I have.
don't think
So,
you've been calling.
that's what we're always trying to look at doing is, how do we allow our customers to provide better service to their customers? And I think with the latest releases, there are so many new features and enhancements. One example, multi-channel customer service.
Oh, that's a
right?
great- that's a
so,
great example.
Yeah, allowing customers to communicate with you based on what their preferences are.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to communicate via email. Maybe they want to communicate via chat. Maybe they don't want to pick up the phone and call you. Well,
Yeah.
being able to give them those options for communicating with you any way that they want to. And the other thing is, too, there's a flip side of that. It not only offers more customized individual service, but it also can reduce your costs because calls coming into a call center, that's the most expensive interaction.
Yes.
So you can also reduce some of your costs by offering some of these multi-channels to communicate with your customers. So
Absolutely.
some real big benefits there in terms of
Absolutely.
improving service to your customers.
So in general, I don't know if you have any other technical point on that
No,
one.
I can't
but-
tell you. I mean, that's a perfect point.
Yeah,
That's-
I agree
that's-
as well.
Run the gamut.
Point is, gotta upgrade. I mean, there's a lot of different versions we've got customers on at different places, and they're really missing the boat. Chances are high they're using it for voice only, as we heard Wade say. This, to me, says you need to get current or you're missing something.
Definitely.
Thanks, guys.
Cynthia, welcome back to TechWise TV.
Thank you, to me.
So good to have you here. Now, we got you here to talk about UC, and in particular 9.1, right? But I like to kind of see what people bring to the table here, and you're our video expert. And so to talk about all the B2B features and all that stuff, yeah, I can read that on a data sheet. But let's talk about what 9.1 brings to the table when it comes to the video side. And in particular, the thing I really want to grill you on is a question I get the most from engineers out there is that if I'm looking at having one of these little deals on my network, which nearly every network has out there, and it's what we call a firewall, right?
Yep.
Now, video on this side, piece of cake, right? Everybody can do video on the LAN side. There's no big surprises there. The problem is getting through, transversing this firewall, and actually doing some B2B,
Or B2B
stuff.
situation.
Yeah, because let's be serious. You know, we've been doing video on the LAN side since the coffee pot days, right? I mean, you don't need anything
No
special
use.
for that. You
Yeah.
don't even need UC to do that. I mean, we can do video, you know? The trick is how do I actually use this and make this effective? So put that question to you. How am I transversing that firewall?
So, and
Let me change your color here so you can see it better.
Sure.
There you go. Go ahead.
In UC 9.1, we have, this is your UC manager inside of a firewall, and you have another company that you have to talk to. What we have is something called an expressway solution. And what it is, it has one box outside of the firewall, another one inside of the firewall. And so it uses the communication between these two to help you traverse that firewall and get your communication back into your corporation as well as outside to another business.
Okay, I hear you. My concern is that from an engineering standpoint, solving a problem with other boxes creates another problem, right? Because now I've got two boxes that I have to manage now versus just one. How does that work with UC? How does that tie in?
It actually ties completely into our call control with UC Manager. The dial plan can all be integrated together. We actually introduced in 9.1 something called URI dialing. You can also think about it as email style dialing. So that also helps with not only intercompany, inside of my own company, I can call you just by your email address. I could also call another company. So say my customer wants to call me, he could just call me at cynthia@cisco.com. And that way, when you set up the dial plan at cisco.com, just comes to Cisco, and B2B calls works piece of cake.
Very cool. Let me turn the camera real quick because that's a real important piece to look at when you're looking at this type of solution. Because when you're looking on the UC side, we're matching our numbers based upon best match, right? I mean, I'm dialing 1, 2, 3, 4, and obviously my routing logic is breaking that down. When it comes to Expressway, that's a prefix match solution, which is very critical when we're down to URI because you're looking at Cisco.com domain at this person, whatever, so you can click inside the email to find that. That's a really big
Exactly.
deal.
And there's actually more to this expressway solution. Not only can you do B2B calls, if you have remote endpoints, you have endpoints outside of your firewall, you can use Expressway to register those inside to your UCM without having to do a VPN session.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, now that's really cool for like our mobile workforce and all that good stuff then, because that's a
Exactly, yeah.
humongous benefit because it's typically we're having to VPN that stuff in. And let's just face it, if you've got to add a VPN on top of everything here, then you're really slowing that connection down because I got to encrypt that stuff, and it just makes common sense. The more you add to it, the more slower it gets, and then your video is all choppy, and it's useless. I mean, so I need something that is going to accelerate. So no VPN, that's great news, man.
Yeah.
That's a really, really big deal. Now, if I'm going to do something like that and look at actually adding this in, am I blind here what's going on these devices? Because it lives in the DMZ, right?
Yes.
This out here is the DMZ type product.
Exactly.
That's cool. I still have control of that. I don't have to put it out in the Wild West. So this being the DMZ, am I still able to troubleshoot this at 3 o'clock in the morning by analyzing my statistics, looking at my logs? Can I tie all that stuff together and make it one?
Absolutely. That's very, very key, especially in your IT organizations. You don't want things to just happen and then you don't know what's going on. You will have control on both of these boxes in your Expressway solution.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. And from your experience, I mean, I know that we just don't like do an upgrade and just say, 9.1's out there, woohoo, come and get it. I mean, we test it and we, have a lot of customers kind of beta it out and all that good stuff. What are they thinking of this solution? I mean, is this really changing the way they're looking at video? And
Definitely. It really helps with making video more pervasive, from the firewall traversal, B2B calls, remote workers being able to register in, as well as the URI dialing. That all helps making video a lot more pervasive. It helps you deploy video a lot easier.
I'm really glad to hear this, because one of the things that has always been my concern when it comes to adding video outside of the firewall is to get it to work. It seemed like it was very piecemeal. It seemed like it's very Band-Aid-ish type approach now. And it looks like being able to still provide my security for my network to keep people out, but then still give me the statistics and the monitor and all that stuff. It's pretty darn sweet. It's a sweet way to transverse that firewall.
Yes.
And register my clients, because it's no longer, if I just had to solve the V2B problem, okay, that's fine. But let's just face it, a lot of our staff is mobile and they're out running around, and they still need to feel like they're connected to the office to feel like they're part of the office, right?
Yes, exactly.
So very cool. Is there anything else that you think it's important for the engineers to know about this?
One more thing, actually. We have enhanced location CAC, call and mission control, with 9.1. So if you have multi-tiered or multi-hop topologies, we are enhancing the way that you can do call and mission control for these types of more complex networks as well.
How are you doing that? I'm not going to let you off the hook. That sounds pretty groovy. What are you doing?
The way that you can handle your call and mission control, you can get to a lot more granularity, especially when you have multiple hops. You're going, you have multiple tiers in your topology. The way that you do your call and mission control, it'll work for video, work for different types of video as well. And so it'll give you end-to-end control of your network bandwidth.
Dadgum, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
That's a sweet feature. Holy smoke. Wow. Okay, well, good stuff. 9.1 is a lot more than just a bunch of bug fixes or a way for us to milk more money out of a business and stuff. There really are some honest-to-goodness benefits here that we can really take advantage of immediately.
Yes.
Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on TechWise. Appreciate it. Hey, Brian, welcome to TechWise TV.
Thank you so much. Very excited to be here.
Hey, glad to have you here, man, especially the topic that you're going to talk about, upgrading and stuff.
Yep.
Now, before we get started, I want you to notice something real quick. You see all this? Before I did UC upgrades, that was a thick set. That was a beautiful mullet that I had down here and stuff. It looked just glorious. But then I started doing all these UC upgrades and look, bald spot.
No, I understand. I understand.
Come on, man. Have you guys done anything to make it easier on us?
Well, you know what? We saw a lot of people balding, and so we decided that we needed to simplify this.
Excellent.
And so what we've done is, Cisco's Call Manager has been around for 10 plus years. And we have tons of versions out there. I think we counted, there were something like 76 different versions of Call Manager out there. And each one of those has an upgrade guide. And we're trying to get people to the latest and greatest experience, these new features and experiences. And what we needed to do, and we went and we simplified these 76 upgrade guides, these versions, and we turned them into 7. So now we went and validated, and we have 7 new upgrade procedures and upgrade guides for customers to upgrade their call manager. So we've simplified that, and we made it a lot easier.
76 to 7.
76 to 7.
Boy, howdy.
And these aren't even like your very detailed upgrade guides. These aren't your down in the weeds, insert your CD, log into call manager, any CCID knows how to do that.
Yeah, common sense stuff.
And these aren't your 30,000, things to consider when you're doing a call manager upgrade. These are kind of right smack in the middle that are useful. They have some of the common gotchas, some of the common things that people run into. So they're really great upgrade guides that we've produced.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Groovy. Okay, well, so the guides are one thing, but you can get guides for building a nuclear reactor. That doesn't make it simple. So what else have you guys done to kind of simplify that whole process?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we've done is we've created a new upgrade procedure. So when you're moving from, let's say, a 6 or a 7 to 9, a lot of people go and virtualize on a UCS. And in order to do that from a 6 or 7, you have to take your MCS box, you have to get another MCS box somewhere, storage, old one, beg, borrow, and steal, I don't know. But you have to get another MCS box, you have to load and do an upgrade to 8 onto that MCS box, and then you have to take another database backup and load that onto a UCS box with 9. And it's just this extra step that really you shouldn't have to do. And so
yeah, we don't
went,
make it easy, that's for sure.
I mean, we went back to engineering. We said, you know what, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so engineering came back to us, and we've removed that step, and we've created this new process called a jump upgrade that skips that, takes away the interim hardware, shortens your upgrade time by 8 to 12 hours, and minimizes downtime. So it's this brand new process. It's coming out. It's just makes life so much easier when doing an upgrade.
Man, I reckon that is pretty nice, man. All right. And then you also brought with you an app that's already went into battery sleep mode, which is kind of groovy. But you got this app that is going to allow you to check your hardware, which is kind of cool because if you look at the TechWise TV blog, which you can go to at blogs.techwisetv.com, we put a blog on this show because I'm not an upgrade guy, man.
Sure.
I mean, I run the oldest versions of everything.
Me too.
My machine over there is still running Windows 95. So, you know, I mean, it's Rob's trying to get me to upgrade to ME, but I just won't do it. So the piece here is that a lot of us don't like to upgrade because it causes hardware problems. And one of our guys who watch the show a lot, I hate to say fans because that seems so, self-serving and stuff, but one of the people who watches TechWise said, look, I went to go do this upgrade and my hardware's compatible and now I had to buy UCS Express just to turn cameras on. What a ripoff.
Yep.
And who could blame me? I'd be pretty upset too, man. But you guys have this new app here
Yep.
that
Now-
would have scanned that and maybe stop that.
Yes, and I'm really excited about this app.
Okay.
So let me tell you about this. This is a app that we put out, and we heard those pain points. We heard that people don't understand like all the things that need to go into it and what's compatible and what's not, and they have to look up guides and like matrices to say this is compatible with this. We heard all that. And so we created this brand new app, and it's live today on the Apple App Store. So it's something that, it's verified by Apple. We're not trying to scam anybody. It's a free app, and it's called CUCM Upgrade Central. And let me show you how great this app is, because this is really, really amazing. So what we have is this upgrade app, and you jump in right here, the home screen. You can get an upgrade readiness assessment.
Pretty clean.
Yep. Upgrade assessment, collateral, support and services. You know exactly where to go. But to solve your problem, we have this upgrade readiness assessment. So very simple. It asks for your organization name, kind of cluster name, requester name, and this is for you to be able to categorize your assessments and kind of store all the assessments that you do. We never take any of this information. This is all for you. So let me go ahead and just type in some dummy data here. And so we'll put TechWise, and we'll just say our cluster name is A, requester name is B for Brian. And I'm going to quickly log into my call manager right here. And give me a second.
Okay. Administrator.
All right, so I've pre-populated this, and we're going to log in, and this is actually connecting. Hit the submit button. This is connecting live to a call manager today. This is a Cisco call manager, has about 450 endpoints, servers. It goes into your publisher, and then it goes into your subscribers, and it analyzes all of that. And now, I know a lot of people are concerned, oh my God, this tool is going into my call manager. It's a live call manager. What's going on? Very lightweight, barely touches anything. This thing runs this is about 30 seconds or so, connecting to everything and gets all this information. Doesn't touch anything, doesn't change anything, so no worries there. Very, very lightweight. But this is what it comes back with, and this is what I'm excited about. It comes back with a readiness assessment report that tells you this is what your current environment is. So I've connected to a call manager, 614. Here's my publisher. Here's my subscriber, IP addresses. Here's all the gateways that are connected. Here's the endpoints, the types of endpoints. So it gives you all of this information about your current environment, which is amazing.
Yeah.
This would take a CCIE maybe 1 to 2 weeks to kind of go delve through all these connections,
Right.
all these things, checking all these matrices to say what's compatible or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have this, so we go into this summary, and it's very easy. Looks like your endpoints are good, green checkbox. Software, you're not on 9 yet. We'd love to get you to 9, so little kind of exclamation point, something to do there. Server, it looks like some of our servers aren't compatible here. So this tool goes in and says, not only does it check it, but then we go into recommendations. And we'll tell you, okay, this isn't compatible, and here's all the information about the publisher, the IP address, the partition size, available memory, RAM space. Right here, all of this, it tells you all of that. And then it'll give you a recommendation. So, let's say it's not compatible. Well, what can I go to? I mean, I'm not an expert. How do I know? And so we have all of this information right here, and it jumps straight to the Cisco webpage for you to get more information about this.
Son of a gun.
So this really simplifies your life. It goes through, it checks everything. And in our next version, we're checking applications. So one of the big ones are attendant console.
Right.
That's a huge one. And so we checked compatibility for that to 9. We check all of that information, number of applications. We're checking all of that. So this application, and this is what gets me so excited, is that it simplifies your life. It makes it so easy, and it shortens the amount of time that you actually need to go in and dig through documents and dig through logging into Call Manager, etc. It's a great app. And then it gives you those upgrade procedures I mentioned. So this is now a customized upgrade procedure for this Call Manager. And if we jump into it,
Oh yeah, seen that doc before.
the format's the same, but we've rewritten all of this. And so, you have upgrade preparation checklist, and we go into a little more detail in each of these, and it provides that for you. And it's customized for your specific version of Call Manager.
Sure enough.
Yep. Makes it a lot easier. You don't have to find anything anymore. You don't have to log into the Cisco website. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right here.
Wow.
One thing I really want to touch upon is support. We all know things go wrong. Even with the best plans, things pop up. I was scared this demo wasn't going to work right before. Luckily, it did.
I wasn't scared. You guys.
But, we've put together a support plan as well for upgrade in 9.
What does that mean?
So, wherever you are in the upgrade process, whether you're just kind of doing a readiness assessment like this, or you have decided you're starting to do the planning phase now, or you're doing the actual upgrade, or you're now doing the licensing after post-upgrade, we've created dedicated support teams.
Don't we always have that though?
We do have support teams, but we've realized that this is a very critical piece of machinery, and we want to make sure that you guys get it right. The customers get it right, and that you don't have any problems. Mm-hmm. And so what we've done is we've created these dedicated teams. For instance, planning. We staffed up and trained a special planning team. You send them your report right here, so you can actually email this out, and you can email the report, and they'll get all your current environment and everything, and they'll help you plan your upgrade.
Sure enough.
So you don't have to do this. You're not alone anymore, and that's the biggest part. You're not alone when you're doing this upgrade.
That's even great for partners, though, too.
It's good for everybody. It just simplifies your life. And we've done this for TAC as well. So, when you call in a TAC, the usual customer experience is, good morning, hello, what are you running? What kind of problem are you on? Have you tried plugging in your power cord?
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Have you tried turning it on and back off?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what we've created is a special keyword. So you mentioned CUCM upgrade version 9. And that will route your call to the experts. So you're
Wait, what? You don't have to go through all the different levels.
No, so we are skipping those levels. We're skipping level 1, level 2. We're taking you straight to the experts. So
what do you have to say again to make that happen?
It's CUCM upgrade to version 9, and that will get your case tagged. You will get straight to the experts, so that the best part about this is not only can you call them, or do you need to call them when you have a problem. You can call them in advance and say, hey guys, I'm doing an upgrade next weekend, next Saturday. Can you have someone on standby for me? And they will do that for you.
Sure enough.
They will get a level 3 guy on standby for you, ready to go to help you with this upgrade, just in case if you have any problems. So we want to make this as simple as possible for you.
Yeah, that's quite a commitment, man.
No problems whatsoever. If you have any, we will take care of you.
Well, we got about 20 seconds left.
All right.
And I know that would chip a lot of time, but thank you.
You're
obviously,
welcome.
I'm not an upgrade person, but you've really taken a lot of time here to really, number one, give me an app to check all this stuff out, all the back-end resources, the licensing teams, the planning, the tax support. What else do you need? You guys want to help pay the bill on this stuff? I guess that would be...
That would be nice.
I got it. You see that?
Let me see. I got about $2 in here, so I can contribute $2.
Well, that's enough to go out for lunch, man. Let's get out of here.
Perfect. Let's get out of here.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
All right. So one of the pain points with migrating is licensing.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what we're doing there and how we're making this better for our customers, because I know this is just really a tough thing when they start looking at migrating.
That's right, Laura. So I think there's been a lot of transitions that we've done, especially with licensing, from the previous releases and to 9.1. So in the past, before 9X, it was all DLUs. No matter what they bought DLUs or they bought user licenses, it was all back in the system, DLUs. And we've just changed a lot of things. There've been a lot of transition. It's made it hard for our customers and partners. And we've heard tons and tons of feedback on, hey, you've done so many transitions and what do we do now? And how can we get transition to 9.1?
Right.
And with 9.1, the thing is, no more DLUs. It's all user-based licenses.
Whoa.
So we now have
no DLUs.
No more
That's it.
DLUs.
They're done.
9.1. They're done. We're done with that
Nice.
chapter, right? No
Okay.
more RTUs, no more DLUs. So it's all user-based
Great.
licenses. So it's
Okay.
either UCL or cool licenses.
Okay.
So now the transition from the pre-9X to 9X can be a bit challenging because from DLUs now we have to convert them into user-based. So that's something that we've looked into, taken feedback from our partners, customers, and seen how can we streamline the process a bit better. With 9.1, we also have ELM, which is the Enterprise License Manager. It is sort of the one server box which manages licenses for all UC applications. And right now it manages licenses for CUCM and also for Unity. So once they migrate...
So one place to go.
Yeah, one place to go, one place to manage your licenses enterprise-wide, right?
Okay.
So that makes it really simple operational efficiency. So once they get converted from their DLUs to user license, they're good to go. The future migrations are going to be much easier, much more smoother. They can do automatic migration moving forward. So the key is really now for us to get our customers migrated to 9.1 in terms of licenses.
What are we doing to get them to migrate?
Right.
DLUs. I mean, are we making that easier? I
Yes.
mean, what have we done?
Absolutely. So we've looked at the process and we've really tried to streamline it and see how can we take the pain points away. And one of the things that we realized is that it's going to be, since there's been so many transition, it's going to be hard for one person to sit and do all this calculation by themselves.
Okay.
So what we've done is we've said, hey, so we understand it's been complex, and we've stated some policies. We said that if a customer has UCSS contract, the service contracts, then they will be assured the same amount of license capability and capacity that they had pre-9X as they migrate to 9.1.
Do they have to pay for that?
No, that is at no licensing cost.
Whoa. Okay.
And that's the key. Thanks for bringing that up. Because if they are on UCSS, we are going to honor them the exact same number of licenses as they had as they moved to 9.1.
Now, what if they need more licenses?
Is
that covered?
Absolutely. So if they had unused DLUs in the past that they want to use, they can certainly convert those unused DLUs as they move to 9.1. And they have absolute flexibility in configuring it however they want it. If they want to configure them as UCL, they can. If they want to configure them as cool standards or cool pros, they can certainly do that and get those features and functionalities that come with those licenses.
Okay.
Now, if they're not on UCSS, we have some great offers and promotions to get them on UCSS CSW.
Okay.
So that then they can leverage this. And on top of all the unused DLUs, if they want to buy more, certainly. We have some great promotions out there for them to buy more user licenses as they migrate to 9.1.
I'm sure we do.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
And what happens, though, is that we will make a note of that in the service contracts and the UCSS contracts. So as they come to the next renewal period, they will pay for the new types and the counts of licenses that they used while migrating. They don't have to pay at the time of migration. They only
that's
pay
nice.
at the time of renewal. So that's
Okay.
really a good thing. And we have some great promotions out there.
Fantastic.
For both licensing and services for customers to leverage.
Good, good. Now, what do customers have to submit?
Yeah, so the way we've streamlined the process is for all the partners and customers to contact our global licensing operation,
Okay.
which is we call GLOW, for anything to do with licensing.
And we have their email address
addresses,
right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or they can just open a TAC case online, select the third option, which is specifically for licensing, which goes back to GLOW again.
Okay.
And so there are single point of contact. So anything to do with licensing, we're asking our partners and customers, don't worry about the calculation of DLUs. Don't worry, don't even look at it. Don't even try calculating it, right? 'Cause
Really?
It's just too complicated. Just contact GLOW.
Okay.
And like you asked, there are a certain amount of information that they need to submit to ensure the right delivery.
And they're going to get kind of
licenses.
this white glove service, right?
Exactly.
High touch, and it's like, hey, we
That's
understand,
exactly what
we're
it is.
listening, we know this is kind of confusing, we know it's difficult.
Yep.
This is what we put in place to make it easier for you to move over. Okay.
Exactly. And there are two scenarios the customers or partners can reach out to GLOW for.
Okay.
And one is just for them pre-upgrade, just to know what their licensing entitlement is. They just want to know, as I migrate to 9.1, I want to understand what kind of licenses I will have. Is that sufficient for me? So they can plan it really well. For that specific purpose, they just need to submit the UCT, which is the user count tool or the license count utility, however they're used to knowing it. They have to run that on their CUCM publisher. And they take the output of that and they need to submit that. along with the MAC addresses of their publisher. And if they had any records of their older MAC addresses of the older publishers, they can certainly do that. That'll help Glow in looking up all the information.
Okay.
And UCSS and ESW information, the service contract information, is optional. If they have access to that, they should certainly submit that, and that will speed up the process as well. So that is just to understand the licensing entitlement. So
Okay.
what Glow does is they actually do the calculation in the back end. They look at their SOs, POs. They look at the LCU output and say, this is how they've configured their call manager. This is how they've configured these many users, these many devices. And these are the types of licenses they need to go to 9.1. And then they work with the customer and partner to see how they want to configure their unused DLUs and all that good stuff. They want to buy more licenses, they can certainly do that as well.
Nice.
And the second half of the slide basically shows you what do they need to submit to actually get the licenses after the upgrade.
Okay.
So one good thing about ELM that I referred to you earlier, the Enterprise License Manager, is that it gives you a grace period of 60 days. So once you upgrade, you don't have to load the licenses right away.
Okay, so you got a little bit of time to get those in there. Okay.
Exactly. And that grace period is for you to really say, okay, this is how I've configured it. Do I need these? Do I not need these? And really leverage those 60 days to upload the 9.1 licenses to move forward.
Good deal. So we have a couple minutes left. Is there anything else you want to cover before we go?
Yeah, and one thing is just to understand, since we're moving to this new process of contacting Glow for all license migration, just in terms of the SLA, they've given us is 3 to 5 business days. So when you contact Glow, they'll get back to you with the first response in 3 to 5 business days, as long as all the information is submitted. We're really working.
Good. I mean, it's pretty good to get back to you, especially considering all of the information that they're looking at, right?
They really look through all the information and make sure that the license is accurate. Everything that they're getting is good enough for them to move to 9.1. We're really working to get that down to even lesser time, but
which is even better, right?
But hopefully the 3 to 5 business days would work well for us.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, talking about how we're listening to our customers and making things easier when they migrate, especially as it relates to licensing.
Absolutely.
So, thanks so much.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, as we often do, I'm always curious, how our perceptions have changed throughout the making of a show, and actually here as we sit at the end of the show. I'll tell you what jumped out at me, and I'll just volunteer it right off the bat, is I honestly thought that when we were talked about doing a show around a migration process or an upgrade, especially around unified communications, and actually the technology didn't even matter. It immediately sounded like this is a white paper, a marketing type of thing.
Right.
What would we really be working on? And then, of course, as we dug into the details, and hats off to Shobana and, I hope
Brian.
I'm pronouncing her name correctly, and Brian, I'm pretty confident I got that name right, because I'm blown away at how much they didn't just put together they haven't been working over the years, because I literally think it's been a while, about making an existing process more digestible. What they did was they go, hey, parts of this are broken. They go back to engineering and they said, this needs to be redesigned. They listen to customers and feedback from partners, and they said the licensing sucks. It's not working right. And went back and made changes, and then, of course, worked on marketing that and making it digestible. That was cool, because I thought, that's a story. That makes sense. Curious, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think that we've made a lot of strides, and listening is important, right? We're hearing that feedback, and we're bringing it in, and we're making a lot of improvements, making it much easier to go through the process.
Probably an ongoing thing, yeah.
One of the things that I have to address is, leading up to the show, Jimmy Ray put a blog out. And so he did a little bit of trash talking.
That's right, I did.
And so I have to say, Jimmy Ray, okay, I know you were saying, hey, I really don't like doing voice episodes.
That's right.
It's migration. I'm not really buying into it. So we're at the end of the show. What do you think? Have we changed your mind?
I always had to say yes, because you guys did great, But the truth is, you really caught me off guard. I mean, I got to eat a lot of those words. And I think that the thing that surprised me the most was how well we're prepared to support our customers in the upgrade, and the extra mile that we went. The fact that you can say keywords on TAC and get directed to a level 3 support engineer, holy smoke. I mean, we pay those guys a lot of money. And so you've got a dedicated team waiting for you, a team that you can call and make an appointment and say, on Saturday at 3 in the morning, we're going to do this upgrade. Can you have somebody on standby? Like, sure. I mean, you'd have to pay for that from a partner.
Gotta pay somebody.
I mean, and then the fact that people are willing to go back into their internal processes in any company and say, maybe this was wrong, we need to do something different because our customers experience pain.
Good.
What do we need to do to make this different? Yeah, and the technologies, the upgrades. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to write a follow-on blog on this too.
Oh, good. I was going to say, commit him to writing a follow-on.
No, I am, because I was actually working on the outline stuff while the show was going on. The part that I was like, I don't like this. This is kind of silly. Was the video storing, where we have expressway on this side, expressway on this side to get through the firewall. I'm like, that is absolutely crazy. I'm not going to add more equipment. And when I was listening to her talk, I was like, being a courteous host,
Yeah, no, you were.
But in my head, I'm saying no. But then I started thinking about it, and I thought, here's the thing. Video is very intensive on any network, right? Mm-hmm. HD video in particular, 4.8 gigabits a second. Uncompressed, of course. We compress it. It takes a lot to run video because it's easy to get it out of sync. You got two major components you got to carry through. You got the video piece, you got the audio piece.
Very little room for failure.
There's very little room for failure. And I want to put that on the firewall. It's already working pretty darn hard to handle multiple connections. I mean, how many shows have we done saying each user handles 55 to 85 connections opening, and I want to throw that workload on top of a firewall? It's not fair to ask people to buy a enterprise-class firewall for a small business to be able to do video to make a small business work. That's kind of silly. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that we said, okay, look, we're not going to put all this extra workload on a firewall. We're going to isolate to these two, other devices here to separate and handle that workload, and then give you the ability to manage both those directly, made a lot more sense to me. I mean, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That is how I design a network, because it would be silly to put that kind of workload on something that's already working as hard as it possibly can, and to do that stuff. And so, you know what? I have to eat my words. I honestly was not expecting much, and that is the truth. I really was not. I was thinking that, okay, well, we'll pay the bills and we'll go next month and we'll do another show. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Great show.
We're eventually going to turn you into a voice guy.
Yeah, I don't think you will, but
That's my goal. That's my goal.
Okay, well,
someday.
I think it's important to
you
set
get excited
big
when we do these episodes.
Hey, those guys are willing to learn and adjust. We have to be willing to learn and adjust.
Absolutely.
Even cranky old guys like Jimmy Ray.
True.
Well, you were talking about how. All right, another story about. Everybody thinks I'm older than I am. I never thought. I didn't know he was 28.
Yeah, I know. People get it wrong all the time, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, it's 28. Jiminy Christmas, man.
You've been 28 for a long time. Absolutely. Well, listen, guys. Hey, thank you so much for watching. To see that blog and any others that are continue to come out, you can always check out blog.techwisetv.com. You can get that. Techwisetv.com, by the way, is a shortcut to get to all the videos. You can follow us on social media. You probably saw the Twitter handles and such underneath us here as we did the show. Please follow that. You can always follow the show at TechWiseTV. It's a Twitter handle. Become a friend of us on Facebook. That's just at TechWise. Actually, I don't think you do the at part on the Facebook. You're the social media expert as well. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for helping us put this show together. To all of our guests, on behalf of everyone here at TechWise TV, see you on the next one. I'm a serial upgrader. Every time I get a notice on my phone, I say yes.
Upgrade.
Here we go. From the top.
Upgrade.
Subliminal.
5, 4, 3.